A pleasant day, everyone. Welcome to our virtual class in English 10. What is public speaking? Basically, it is a presentation that is given live before an audience. Public speeches can cover a wide variety of different topics. The goal of the speech may be to educate, entertain, or influence the listeners. Often, visual aids in the form of an electronic slideshow are used to supplement the speech and make it more interesting to the listeners. In this session, our focus will be techniques in public speaking. At the end of this session, you will be able to 1. Employ appropriate pitch, stress, juncture, intonation, etc. 2. Observe the correct stance and proper stage behavior as deemed necessary. 3. Establish eye contact. 4. Demonstrate confidence and ease of delivery. And the last one, deliver a prepared speech or impromptu talk on an issue employing the techniques in public speaking. As a grade 10 student, these techniques in delivering a speech will be very essential in the future. For there could be situations where you would need to practice your public speaking skills either as part of your task in college or as part of your professional responsibilities in your job. The most common forms of public speaking include delivering a prepared speech and an impromptu speech. A prepared speech is the one in which the speaker is given the topic beforehand. He has the time to research about the topic, and he is able to rehearse or practice prior to delivering the speech. But a prepared speech does not necessarily equate to a memorized speech. Delivering a fully memorized speech is just one example. While an impromptu speech is the one where the speaker is given with little or no time to prepare. This type of speaking occurs during ambush interview and other gatherings where people are asked to deliver a speech on the spur of the moment. Delivering an impromptu speech seems a challenging task, since it means speaking about a specific issue or topic without having the chance to research about it, or even make an outline as guide. When delivering this type of speech, one must be able to fully gather his thoughts, focus on the issue or topic at hand, and maintain composure. Is everything clear so far? Okay, let us check if you can identify whether a prepared or an impromptu speech is usually used in the given examples or situations. You are given 10 seconds to answer each. Okay, let's start. Number 1. You were chosen to represent the school in an oratorical contest. Okay, have you also chosen prepared speech? If your answer is yes, that is correct. Number 2, you were asked to share your knowledge about a topic on the spot. Okay, this time, what is your answer? Is it also impromptu speech? If your answer is yes, very good. Let's proceed to number 3. You were invited to give a reflection for the upcoming Holy Week Mass. Okay, this time, did you also choose prepared speech? Very good. Okay, number 4. You are assigned to give a talk before a group of students. Is your answer prepared speech? Wow, that's great. Number 5. You were called by the host to deliver a message during a wedding ceremony. Did you also get impromptu speech? Very good. What makes a good public speaker? Here are some techniques which may work best when speaking before a large audience. Okay, read with me. Number 1, know your purpose. Being sure on the purpose of your speech is synonymous to knowing where to focus your discussion. It may be as basic as to inform, persuade, or inspire. When you are certain about what you would want to speak about from the very beginning, you will most likely be able to avoid being sidetracked or confusing your audience with lengthy discussions that lead nowhere. Now, can you read the second technique in public speaking? Are you done? Okay, the best way to do this is to research. When you are sure of every piece of information you are presenting, you will be more confident. This is also something that your audience will usually notice and feel. Again, read with me. Number 3, consider your audience. It is essential to be sure of the kind of people you will be speaking to. Knowing your audience will help you plan the appropriate content, language, and techniques to use. You cannot address a group of high school students the way you would address a crowd of professionals. Okay, let us proceed to number 4, which is plan ahead of time. Cramming will reflect in the way you speak and behave in front of an audience. This is something any speaker would not want to happen. That is why planning everything is a key to a successful speaking engagement. Okay everyone, read number 5. Use non-verbal cues. The right amount of gestures at the right time are key elements of public speaking, as these movements help convey ideas more clearly. There is, however, danger in overusing these gestures, as they can become distracting. Establishing eye contact with the audience also works well in maintaining confidence and establishing sincerity. Altogether, let us read number 6. Remain calm. Whether you are delivering a prepared or an impromptu speech, maintaining composure can always be an issue. The weeks of planning and preparation may be put to waste if you keep on showing unnecessary movements as a sign of nervousness. Taking deep breaths and having a focused mindset can do the magic of staying relaxed. Okay, let's proceed to number 7. Practice. Being a good and compelling speaker takes a lot of practice and experience. Through constant practice, one may be able to identify areas that can be improved. Practice is a major component of planning. Okay, now we are in number 8. Watch your words. One choice of words greatly affects how the audience perceives the speech. One must be very careful enough not to use words that might put his or her reliability and reputation into jeopardy. Now we are in number 9. Speak with clarity. One should observe proper pronunciation, stress, intonation, puncture, diction, tone, and pacing when delivering a speech. These are just few of the many elements that should work together to ensure that the ideas in the speech are clearly conveyed. This is not something one can learn overnight. Consistent practice is likewise necessary. To learn more about speaking with clarity, let us all watch this video.
When you speak English, how easy is it for people to understand you? Is your pronunciation as clear as it can be? Throughout the IELTS speaking test, the examiner will listen to you. One of the areas in which you are assessed is pronunciation. The examiner should be able to understand every word that you say in the exam. In other words, your pronunciation must be clear. Let's talk about how you can improve the clarity of your speech. There are some useful strategies that you can use. First, think about your volume. Make sure that you speak loudly enough for the examiner to hear you. There's no need to shout, but don't whisper or mumble either. Next, think about your posture. Hold your head up and make some eye contact with the examiner while you are speaking. Don't stare at the floor. Think about your pace. It's important to have a natural pace, so try not to speak too quickly or too slowly. Take the time to pause occasionally and take a breath where it's appropriate to do so. At the end of a sentence or before beginning a new idea, for instance. But don't take a long pause in the middle of a sentence. Pay attention to the endings of words, especially the consonants like t or d. Don't leave your words unfinished. And finally, when learning new vocabulary, remember, learn the pronunciation of the word as well as its spelling and meaning. Now let's look at how you can make your meaning clear by stressing the right words. When you are asked a question in the IELTS speaking test, it's not enough to simply answer yes or no. You should try to give extended answers if you can. When giving extended answers, it's important to think about where you place the stress in your sentences. In other words, which words should be emphasized so that your meaning is clear. Emphasizing keywords helps meaning to come through. So how do you know which words to stress in order to make your meaning clear? Well, let's look at a simple example together. Let's say that in part 3 of the IELTS speaking test, you've been having a discussion about shopping, and the examiner asks you a question about the future of shopping. In response, you say, in the future? Well, I guess shopping will continue to change. Can you see how the words that you stress help you enhance your meaning? Now, you wouldn't say, in the future, well, I guess shopping will continue to change, because this would be very unnatural and also unclear. So, to answer the question, which word should you stress? Well, there are certain words that are usually stressed in sentences. These words are known as content words. They include nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. They do not usually include grammar words such as articles or prepositions. So that's a look at how you can use clear pronunciation in part 3 of the IELTS speaking test.
Now we have number 10. Know the essential etiquettes. As a public speaker, one should know the different do's and don'ts when speaking before an audience. So, it is very important to avoid foul language, unnecessary gesture, when you are speaking in front of the audience. Everyone read number 11. Are you all done? When possible and appropriate, visuals like PowerPoint slides or presentation can help support the speech being delivered. This should be done in a way that visual aids will not overpower the speech or distract the audience. So you have to use appropriate visual aids. Altogether, read number 12. Dress comfortably but appropriately. Sometimes, speaking with ease comes with feeling comfortable with what you wear. A speaker should dress in a way that exudes respect and formality. And now let us have the last technique in public speaking. Everybody read. Be open to questions and comments. Yes, it is very important to be open to questions and comments. And you have to remember that you cannot please everybody. It is essential to be open to questions, comments, and even criticisms, because they can be used as consideration on how you can improve or continuously refine your style and craft.
These cards are to help improve your impromptu speaking. They're called table talks, and it's something we do in Toastmasters or during Toastmasters meeting. And the purpose is, or the idea behind it is that you get asked a question. You don't know the question, and now I'm not cheating. I'm not looking at the cards. You get asked one question, and you have to come up with an answer, a solution, or whatever it is to the answer to that question immediately, with good communication skills, with good verbal and non-verbal communication skills within, and your answer have to be no less than 1 minute, but no more than 2 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my timer for 2 minutes once I get asked the question, right? So I'm going to pull, I'm going to shuffle, and I'm going to leave. If you like this type of video, click the thumbs up. It means more than you think. And also, if you are brand new to this channel, hit the subscribe button so YouTube can let you know the next time I upload a video. But if you do like this type of video, I will create more. Maybe you get an insight on the way I think. So I'm gonna grab a card right now. I'm not gonna start the timer until I read the card. And the question is, what teacher had the greatest impact on you and why? And I'm going to start the timer right now, and 2 minutes on the clock. What teacher had the most impact or had the greatest impact on you and why? The teacher that had the greatest impact on me, not that I can recall. Now, in grad school, I had a lawyer for a professor. Took the time to recently that I can remember, took the time to answer my questions, and I really appreciate that. It seems that all the teachers today are not, for what I can see, especially for what I can see with my kids, they're there for a job. They're not there to actually educate. However, now that I'm thinking and going through, I had a teacher, I went through a YMCA in Puerto Rico, went to a YMCA while I was growing up. So I think my mom put me there when I was in pre-kinder, so before I was 5 years old. And you learn to swim. I learned to swim in the YMCA. And I remember this teacher threw me into the water to learn to swim. That had the greatest impact growing up because I enjoy swimming. I play a little bit of water polo. I'm very good at, either skiing, diving, scuba diving. I love anything that has to do with the water. It helped me. I feel free. I enjoy. It's peace. And that's the two teachers that had the greatest impact in my life. And with 17 seconds to spare, that's what I'm talking about. Hey, if you want to check it out, I bought these ones through the Toastmasters website. However, there is, I gotta stop the timer before it starts ringing. There you go. Oh, you see? Oh. Okay. I bought this one through the Toastmasters website. However, I bought a different set on Amazon, and I will post the link down below. Great conversation starter. Great to help improve your communication, impromptu speaking, critical thinking, table talks with Angel Anderson. Again, if you like this type of video, hit the thumbs up. It means more than you think. And if you're brand new to this channel, hit the subscribe button so YouTube can let you know the next time I upload a video. I'm Angel Anderson. See you in the next video. Peace.
Okay, why is it an example of an impromptu speech? It's very obvious that the speaker was able to pick a question, and after reading the question, he was able to answer it for 2 minutes. So meaning, he was not prepared because he didn't know about the question that he was going to answer. So that's why it is an example of impromptu speech.
Fully 85% of your success in life is going to come from your ability to communicate well with other people. All successful people are excellent communicators. In fact, the work at Harvard University on multiple intelligences concluded that social intelligence, the ability to interact well with others, is the highest paid and most respected intelligence in our society. So how do you communicate more effectively with others? My favorite word in communications is the word clarity. Almost all of our problems in life become because of lack of clarity. We say things, but they don't come out clearly. So in order to be clear, first of all, stop, and then think, and then proceed slowly. Another great word is to rephrase or repeat something. Let's say you say something and somebody goes, huh? Or it's clear that they didn't get the message. I speak different languages, French, German, Spanish, and I'm busy working on learning Russian and Chinese now. And one of the things I learned in languages is if you say something in your limited language and they don't seem to understand it, rephrase it and say it again. And if they don't understand it, rephrase it and say it again until people go, ha, now I understand. So effective communication starts with you being very clear in your own mind about what you want to say, and then being very clear when you say it, and then saying it slowly and patiently, and making sure that the other person hears the message that you sent. You know, you can imagine in communications that here is you, and you want to communicate with this person. And so you send a message, almost like a message by telephone or by a carrier pigeon. You send a message into the air in the form of words. These words are then received by the other person, who then interprets the words in their own mind based on their own thoughts, feelings, whether they're paying attention, and so on, and then reformulates or formulates a response and sends the response back. You then receive the response, translate that into meaning and significance, and then you send it back. Between these two responses, there's what are called noise. Noise can be physical noise, outside, around, mechanics, trucks, and so on. But it can also be internal noise. The person can be hungry or distracted. It can be emotional noise. The person can be unhappy or excited. The person can have other noise in that they are interpreting what you say in a different way. So if you think about this, communications requires sending the message and having it received and checking, and then sending the message back and having it received, and then checking, and simply going slowly. So it's better to be sure at every stage of the transaction that people are sending and receiving with tremendous clarity. And here's my favorite question of all. When somebody says something that you're not really sure about, say, how do you mean, or how do you mean exactly? And they will always expand on what they just said and make it clearer for you and easier for you to understand and to respond effectively. If you like this video, please leave a comment below and don't forget to subscribe to get new videos like this in the future. By paraphrasing the speaker's words, you demonstrate in no uncertain terms that you are genuinely paying attention and making every effort to understand.
Okay, with the two speeches that we have just viewed and listened to, could you say that the speakers observed the techniques in public speaking? Yes, they did. This time, your understanding will be checked. You are going to identify whether the given statement is true or false. You are only given 5 seconds to answer each item. True or false? Number 1. Public speaking aims to inform, to persuade, to influence, and to entertain. Number 2. The target audience should not be considered when asked to deliver a public speaking. Number 3. One should observe proper pronunciation, stress, intonation, juncture, diction, tone, and pacing when delivering a speech. Number 4. A prepared speech is one where the speaker is given with little or no time to prepare. Number 5. One choice of words greatly affects how the audience perceives the speech. Now is already our activity time. Are you ready to perform your learning task? Let's start with learning task number 1. Imagine that you have been selected by the school principal to represent your school in a forthcoming conference of student leaders from all over the Philippines. As part of your task, you need to prepare a 10-minute speech that answers the question, what kind of student leadership does the Philippines need today? In a one whole sheet of paper, discuss what would most likely be the focus of your speech. And what techniques do you plan to use to make sure you will create an impact? Now we have learning task 2. Assume the role of a speech coach. Let us say you have a student who will be speaking in front of a large audience for the first time. The idea of facing a great number of people alone causes panic and anxiety to the said student. As a coach, what important pieces of advice or public speaking techniques will you share with the said student? List at least 5 statements of advice in your paper. Learning Task 3. As your final task for this lesson, you will need to prepare and deliver a speech on a familiar issue. You are free to decide on what issue to discuss, but your speech should only range from 2 to 3 minutes. You will also have to employ the different techniques in public speaking cited in this lesson. Choose from among the specific options provided below on how you may possibly be able to accomplish this task. Paste a copy of your speech in your paper. Letter A. If you have a gadget that you can use, you may ask for the help of a family member or use an improvised tripod in recording or filming your speech delivery. The final copy of the clip will be shown to me through possible means. Letter B. If you have a gadget and a way to connect to the internet, you may ask for a schedule when I can watch your speech delivery through mobile applications like Zoom or Google Meet. Letter C. If using a gadget and connecting to the internet are not possible, you may prepare for your speech delivery and present it to me once the conduct of home visitations becomes possible. You may also ask your parents or guardians to watch you while delivering your speech. Ask them to give their comments and suggestions. Write these comments and observations in your paper. In this activity, you are going to complete the table. For each situation given in the first column, suggest possible ways in making sure that a speech will be delivered well in the second column. You're going to write your answers in your paper using the format provided. And now for your reflection, just complete these statements. The most important insights that I have learned this week are: I have realized that I want to continue learning about. I will ask help from. Okay, before we end the session, let me give you a few reminders. Do not hesitate to ask if you need some clarifications. Be ready to submit all the outputs next week. All the summative assessments should be answered once you are done with all the learning tasks for weeks 7 and 8. You still have the chance to complete what you missed to submit previously. And of course, enjoy learning and good luck.